Welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. It's time for another conversation with someone interesting from the internet, or someones to be specific. That's Pomplamoose, a California-based musical duo consisting of real-life couple Jack Conte and Natalie Dawn.
Okay, now if you are a fan of music you are, so
Yes.
am I, or if you like getting inside the brains of musicians, then this Ear Biscuit is for you.
I like to do that,
super
too.
excited about this one.
I almost went to medical school to operate exclusively on the brains of musicians.
Because they have a lot of money?
No, just because I found their brains interesting and I wanted to press on it during surgery so they would make different notes and I could play music through their brains during surgery.
I guess all musicians don't have a lot of money.
It does get pretty deep in this conversation with Pomplamoose. It doesn't get that deep, though. There is no brain pressing that happens.
Now, here's the thing. We have been fans of Pomplamoose since way back. I'm talking like 2008, the dark ages of the internet.
2008.
So when we
Very
ran
specific.
into them at Playlist Live in Orlando, it was the first time we met them, and we were ready to record some Ear Biscuits at Playlist, and so they were the first one.
And this wasn't planned. I got to say that we tried to work out a few interviews at Playlist ahead of time, but we just saw Jack and Natalie in the suite. And what was it? The hospitality suite. They were enjoying some of the hospitality, and we said, we got to talk to Pomplamoose, huge fans, and we got to talk to them on Ear Biscuits. And after an hour after meeting them, we brought them up to our hotel room and had this conversation with them.
And I got to say, I don't know if we were like fanboying, but there was...
I was fangirling. I had gone beyond fanboying.
There was some sort of connection that I felt like we made. So in listening to this Ear Biscuit, I think you can pick up on a friendship blossoming with Pomplamoose. So if you don't know them, I'm glad you get to know them along with us in this Ear Biscuit. They gained attention through their incredibly creative covers of popular songs, and we're going to play a snippet of one here.
Yeah, this is, I think, their most popular video to date. This is their cover of Beyonce's Single Ladies.
Okay, so that was their first cover, I think, but they went on to do a lot of other amazing covers, including Michael Jackson's Beat It.
They told him, don't you ever come around here. Don't wanna see your face, you better disappear. The fire's in their eyes and the words are really clear. So beat it, just beat it. You better run, you better do what you can. Don't wanna see no blood, don't be a macho man.
Okay, I think you can tell by listening to that, this is no ordinary cover. This is not just trying to make a song that sounds exactly like the original. They bring a totally unique musical approach to all their covers. But in addition to that, they do something that we can't display in audio form, and that is the visual approach, what they call video songs. We get into exactly what that is.
And we also uncover what I guess I would call a chip on their shoulder surrounding the fact that they built their brand on covers when they are legitimate artists who have original songs, which they want to get out there as well.
Incredible original songs.
Let's play a snippet of one. Can you introduce it like a radio DJ?
Yeah, next up, we've got an original from Pomplamoose, band out of California, If You Think You Need Some Lovin'.
If you think you need a shrink, you're draining down the sink. Well, go take a hike. Ain't got no time for your back. If you think you need a fix, don't put me in the mix. Just stick to wine. But if you think you need some loving, that's fine.
And there's more where that came from. Next up, we've got, also from Pomplamoose, Hail Mary.
My feet were sold to this winding road. My feet were sold, baby, long ago. Oh, Mary, I've left you a pile of dough under the floorboards near Billy Joe's radio.
I don't see any reason why we just don't get into this conversation. I hope you're as excited as we are. We also talk about their relationship, why they disappeared from YouTube for a while, and then what their plans are for coming back stronger.
Yeah, I was especially intrigued, Link, with how they balance their romantic life with their musical relationship. It's really quite an eye-opening thing.
Here it is, our ear biscuit with Jack and Natalie of Pomplamoose.
Quachow! So this is something that you're encountering at this point, though, is lots of messages coming in. You read some of them, you don't. What about fan mail?
It all comes to one spot, which I know we need to designate, split off, and have a separate.
Do you have a P.O. box?
We do have a P.O. box, yeah.
And do you read everything that comes to the P.O. box?
No, we don't check the P.O. box.
Oh.
That's another problem. So the main problem is we live in two different places right now.
I just realized we haven't checked our mail since Courtney left.
Yeah, it's been like months.
Oh my God.
We
Well,
used
they'll
to
shut
have
it down and they'll
someone
burn
help.
everything.
Yeah,
The USPS.
right.
It's actually not it's not a PO box. It's a physical address through UPS.
So it's somebody's house.
It's an actual box, but you get a physical address. It's not a PO box. It's it costs more, but it still goes to.
Because some people don't deliver to P.O. boxes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
As interesting as the mail situation is.
But you live separately right now.
No, we live together. We live
But
together.
But you're living in two different places.
Yes, because
I thought you were being like, no, yeah, I'm doing the solo career thing over here.
You're asking if they're a couple.
I know that they're a couple.
Natalie and I live together in two different places. Sometimes we live where we record in just north of Petaluma in Sonoma County. We
Okay.
live there together. That's where our studio is. And then the other half of the time we live at the Patreon office in San Francisco. Yeah. So we are splitting time.
And right now you're split up from each other.
No, we
No.
live together.
That's
Always.
That's what I asked.
Every
We're
night we spend together and every day.
A lot of the nights
I understand.
and days.
They're a
together.
couple. They live together, but there's two different places. It's like
That they both live.
That we
Yeah,
both live
right.
together
Yeah,
at the same time.
It's pretty simple.
You even speak at the same time. That's pretty sweet.
Almost 8 years, going on 8 years together.
Really. Well, now, was that like something you kind of had at the forefront right at the beginning of your career? You were like, we're a couple? Because I remember asking, like, are they a couple? And it was like, no, I don't think so. I think they just sing together.
Our friends.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's
It's
really good friends.
Yeah. That was kind of you to not assume that we were in a relationship, because I feel like a lot of people who they do any sort of collaboration on YouTube, it's like
Yeah.
they're in a relationship,
Right.
and it's like,
And then if you're not, then
Yeah.
everybody's disappointed and they're not
Yeah.
gonna buy your iTunes single
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like when I found out that the people from Once weren't really a couple.
Oh,
That
it's
ruined it for me.
heartbreaking.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
Right.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
movies do you watch when you realize that you thought they weren't
They
actors?
were just acting?
I
I remember thinking that too, though. I do know what you're talking about.
because it was so indie. It was so
it
indie.
was
It
like-
had to be real.
You thought it was found footage.
Yeah.
The whole movie once. With all of its cuts and everything.
Documentary.
It was
You know
doc-
how recording studios
was
are.
a doc, right?
First take sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Go with it.
Yeah, the engineer looks up from his magazine. He's like, "Wow, these guys are good."
And then
That's
he
how it is in a recording studio.
Starts messing around
You know?
with all of the.
Right.
Now the projectors. I want to start with the last two videos that you guys put out are both the projector music video things.
Yeah.
So I want to pick your brain on
have
that
you patented this?
and then go backwards.
No, I've not patented it.
You should.
I'm not sure that it's patentable.
I think it is. I think it should be.
So you saw that I commented on the Lord Beck Tupac mashup one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was just so excited. When I saw it, I was like, this is great. This is amazing. And I was like, okay, it's already got 2 million views. And I was like, no, it doesn't. It hadn't broken 1 million views yet. So I was like,
Still hasn't.
this is the least I can do. And so I was actually frustrated for you guys, being a longtime fan. We're both longtime fans.
Yeah.
For that one in particular to be so innovative in this particular projector type way, I was like, oh, this is another big one. So I was going to do my little part and comment, but
Now you regret commenting because it turns out it wasn't a big one.
you did. Well, I mean, it's approaching 1 million views, and you did a sequel. You've done another one.
Well, I think there
So
are a
it's
couple
good
things
enough for
going on.
you, right? What's the thought process in kind of doing the projectors?
Yeah. Well, so, first of all, Pomplamoose is like getting back into the swing of it after not being a channel for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And you know, we took some time to like pursue solo projects, and Pomplamoose was like this thing that we did for fun, and then it became the most successful thing that either one of us were involved with, and then it felt like a burden because we felt like we had to keep it going, and it stopped being fun at a point.
The burden of artistry.
It got to be a point. It got to be we need to take this to the next level, and we need to work with a manager, and we need to make a hit song, and it was just like ugh. And then we got sick and tired and depressed, and we just took a break from it because it was too much. We psyched ourselves out. So we're just getting back into it now. And so that's why I sort of don't feel bad. It's like, okay, there's like 2 videos, and we'll keep doing more, and we'll make a bunch, and maybe as we make more, they feed on each other. Like the more you release, the better the previous ones do. And so as we release more, those other ones are gonna, I'm sure, continue to do better.
Right. So did the projector idea kind of light a spark to reinvigorate your channel, or did you have a spark that this was the first application of it?
Well, we'd been working on recording. We have probably about 8 songs right now that we haven't released.
Like the video as well?
No,
Okay.
just
not
music.
the video as well, but just music. So we deciding to get back into Pomplamoose was a hurdle in and of itself because we wanted Pomplamoose to be fun again, and there are so many things that get in the way of something being fun. So we were trying not to plan too far ahead, to just make it about the music, and so we went back in, we recorded these several songs for the last few months, and then decided that it was time to start putting stuff out. And the best way to put stuff out when you've been out of the loop for a while is to
Buy a bunch of projectors.
buy a bunch of projectors.
Actually, one projector.
One projector.
One
Yeah.
projector.
Okay, you've been watching.
Okay.
Well, you cover.
I didn't let you finish.
You
What
do
were
a
gonna say?
cover is like, that's how you.
Right.
That's because otherwise people aren't going to notice that you put out an original. So you start by putting out covers, and so we're gonna slowly start putting out originals with those covers as well.
But the projector part of it, how did that come about?
So
What
that was an
idea?
accident. Yeah. So on my solo channel, I had been working with. So EDM is a very difficult thing to do live.
I don't even know what it stands for.
Electronic dance music.
Really?
Yeah.
That's intuitive. You're wondering if I'm joking?
I was actually looking at you like
That's why
I
there's
was
2
not
of us.
joking.
I did know that. Okay. And if I know something,
It
he
seemed-
feels free to not
know it. I mean, I have
much more
space in my brain
convenient.
for something else.
That's amazing.
And that one doesn't seem like it would have taken up much space.
Not sure how you got through 2013 without
Yeah,
knowing what
right.
EDM was.
the funny thing is we've had this discussion. I've explained it to it before.
I didn't believe you. It seemed too simple.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a difficult thing. Electronic dance music is a difficult thing to do live, right? So how do you bring it to YouTube? How do you create a live performance experience of electronic dance music? The thing is, it takes thousands of hours to craft those sounds. They can't be produced live. I mean, I record a guitar and then I manipulate the crap out of it until it growls and screeches and grunges and has sub bass and is layered with other things. And there's a million, and it's impossible to show that like Pomplamoose would show video songs, right? Like we would do. So
Piano, bass.
So I wanted to have some kind of video where the audio, where the visuals wasn't the sound that was being made, but rather it was a visual representation of that sound. It made your brain go, that's the same thing. So if it's a wobble bass, then you see a line kind of wobbling with the bass, or you see flashes of lights and boxes at certain times, so that there was some kind of synesthetic correlation between the sound and the video. So I was experimenting with projectors and lighting things. And one time I held up my hand because I was using a projector, and I hold up my hand to grab something, and my face got projected on my palm.
You're like, uh-oh.
And I was like, whoa. And I moved my hand
Face
forward
palm.
and there was my face and I did this. And it was just cool to see the rest of the image
Okay.
behind my hand.
Why were you projecting your face in the first place?
I was projecting my face because I was projecting myself onto a screen. I built a screen and I was playing a launch pad in front of the screen. And so I was projecting my face onto the screen, and then I went to grab the launch pad, and boom, there's my face in my hand. I thought, wow, that's cool to see multiple dimensions with one projector. And then I held up a white card, and my face popped and was really clear now. And then I put up a couple cards and just literally just white cards, like note cards, and put them up at various depths, and then dragged around images in Final Cut Pro until they were on the cards.
That's a good feeling, right? When you discover something like that.
Oh wow, it was so cool looking. It was so cool to move around and see these things in 3 dimensions, and then it was just kind of snowballed from there. It was like one video after the next. Just okay, now more techniques, more ideas.
Oh, so you were doing them on your personal channel,
yes,
the projector.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah.
I got to check those out.
yeah.
Those have way over 1 million views.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And what
Oh,
your
okay.
personal channel is?
Is just
Jack.
my stuff, just Jack Conte music,
Jack
just,
Conte music,
my
okay.
solo stuff. Yeah,
Got it.
yeah. It's more like rah, 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 angry, like EDM, like yeah, kind of stuff, hardcore, like electro. Hardcore.
Okay, so that was working on your channel, so you brought it back over to go with this mashup that you guys,
Yeah.
the Pomplamoose channel, to reinvigorate it.
yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of a proven thing that it's not just 2 of them. There's a lot of them on your channel that have gone viral.
Yeah.
Okay,
Two.
I
And
get
you
it.
guys kind of own that. I mean, kind of own that concept as far as I can tell. I haven't. I don't know if anybody has emulated it, but I definitely. One of the things we struggle with is thinking about innovating and doing things that people haven't done before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was much easier to do that in 08 or 09.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but now you're like, oh, that's been done. It's
Right.
it's kind of rare to find something that's that innovative, that cool, works
And
that
not
well for
simple.
yeah, and works. Yeah, it's like, oh, are you? Surely someone has done this before, right? But no, they haven't, and it's amazing.
Right, there is projection mapping. Like people do projection mapping, but it uses a lot of math and special software. I haven't seen people like just drag shit around
Right.
and not like use mapping software to make it perfect. I think what's cool about the projection videos that we've done is that they look kind of bad. Does that make sense? Like you can
Homemade-ish.
tell. Yeah, you can tell that there's no fancy software or fancy know-how. It's just dragging stuff around in Final Cut. I mean, you can see how it's made.
It's still
you know?
got that very internet-y quality to it, which
Yeah.
Charm.
yeah.
And you're actually drawing attention to how you do the technique so that people can appreciate it more.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, if we shift over to the video songs, I mean, you guys certainly innovated on that front as well in terms of coming up with that, which there were rules involved in making a video song. So take me back through those, take me back through the concept of where you came up with that. Do you guys is this a collaborative part of it? Do you guys work on the music together, and then one of you is geeking out more about how we transfer this into a video? How does that work, and where did the video song idea come from?
It was Jack's idea. I could talk about it, but it was Jack's idea.
Is that kind of a division between you two that you're taking more of the, okay, this is how we're going to do this music video, geeking out on that kind of thing? Is that more your thing?
So I have a film like background. So
Okay.
I do. But Natalie's she edited all the video songs. She did all the editing.
Oh,
on
really?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, on almost every single one of them. So
But not for the projection videos.
No.
I haven't edited those, but I did edit almost all of the old Pomplamoose videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you came up with
The split screen.
the video concept, a video
So-
song concept.
yeah. So
So subject to certain rules.
yeah. Okay. So are you guys familiar with Dogma? Shoot. Ugh, I can't remember. Don't remember the numbers. There was a group of filmmakers in the 60s who got sick of Hollywood productions.
Okay.
And they came up with this set of rules that you have to shoot on location, you have to use direct sound, you can't overdub, and and they just wanted something that was more real. They just wanted something that was more organic and more like life and less like fake art. And I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that, but I like the idea of coming up with rules
And constraints.
and
Parameters,
constraints
yeah.
to help you be creative. And for us, the trouble was, okay, here's our stuff on MySpace, and it gets 3 plays a day. This is 2007, right? So we're like, nothing's happening on MySpace, and we're desperately trying to, make music for a living, and we have all these songs, and we need to figure out a way to convert. Somebody sends me a link to a guy on YouTube who's got 350,000 hits, and he's singing in front of a webcam playing guitar, and it's like, what? He's got an okay voice. It's not great. It's okay guitar, not great. It's like, why are we putting our songs on MySpace? We need to be putting our songs on YouTube. So how do we convert music to video where people are, right? And so for me, the video song was like a function. It was like an equation that converted music to video. And this sounds shitty. I don't mean to sound shitty when I say it this way, but it required not very much creativity to do. It didn't take creative juice to make each video. We just would go in the studio and make the audio, and once the audio was made, the video kind of followed. Natalie did an amazing job editing, but it wasn't that we had to come up with a creative concept for every single music video.
Because you had rules.
Yeah.
And what were the rules?
The rules were no lip syncing for instruments or voice. If you see it in the video, that's the take that you're actually hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see Natalie singing, those are the takes that we used in the audio. And the second rule is
no hidden sounds.
No hidden sounds. So if you hear something in your earphones,
Gotta
at
see
some
it.
point you saw it in the video. So there's
Not every time it occurred, but at some
No.
point,
At some point-
you showed people what was happening.
Yeah, in other words, we're not hiding stuff from you. Like, you get to see how the music is actually happening as it's actually recorded. Because I can tell you, when Beyonce records, she doesn't do it in heels and full makeup. She's in that sound booth in a freaking sweater,
Right.
with a bottle of water next to her, and she probably looks like crap, right? I mean,
Well,
so,
as much like crap as Beyonce.
as
can
Beyonce
look like.
can,
Yeah, right.
right? Exactly. So she looks
Are
amazing.
you saying I look like crap?
Answer the question. I think it's a fair question.
No, you do not look like crap. You always look amazing.
No.
Because you're amazing.
No.
Now you guys can't run ads over this. I just sang a Bruno Mars
Oh, that's
song.
we're good. We won't tell them.
Okay.
Nope. Actually, Bruno's the guy who runs ads over this for us.
Oh, okay,
He's
great.
he's our ad
It's
guy.
a side
Cool.
job.
Oh.
His name's Bruno
So-
Mars.
Was this? I like the sort of the anti feeling of the philosophy, because there's so much that is faked on the internet, and they're in even lip syncing videos. At the time that you guys were really breaking out, I mean, lip syncing videos were still a big thing on YouTube. Was there a part of this that's like, oh, this is a great opportunity. I see that YouTube is a great platform, but we want to do it differently than it's being done? Was that sort of the philosophical approach?
Definitely. There's some of that, and then there's also just some of the feeling that I enjoy when I see art is I can do that, as opposed to I'll never be able to do that, right? Like, when I listen to a band who's just cloaked behind marketing and sort of unattainable veils, I feel like that's something I'll never be able to achieve. They're perfect. They're on a cloud making perfection and letting the world listen to it, right? And I'll never be a part of that.
Mhm.
And I don't want people to feel like that when they listen to our art. I want them to feel like, wow, I could do that. I feel like that's a more inspiring feeling. That's a feeling that I appreciate when I see art that I like, is a feeling of empowerment as opposed to belittlement.
I remember
Does
the
that
first
work?
time that I heard Nirvana, it was actually seeing the music video for Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Right.
And I remember my reaction was, I can do that. Something about the way that it was presented and the way that it sounded was the first time that I understood music as something that I could emulate. Now, I actually couldn't, but I was under the illusion that I could. And I think that was, at least for me,
Oh,
that was
definitely.
something that was exciting, that kind of drew me in. Also, think I can do what you guys can do, but I can't.
No, because I can safely say that I don't think that anything that you've ever seen in one of our videos is what you're hearing. I can safely say that we haven't followed that philosophy, but because I'm just thinking about how much footage you got to deal with. Or you guys?
Well, with the number of takes that we have to do to sing something,
right? Yeah,
it would just be way too much footage and too much time. It's like.
I mean, it's frustrating enough for us to just go through the audio takes alone to add.
I don't want to see myself struggling to hit that note.
Yeah, no. So I'm just wondering how you guys kind of keep it so fun and just light and because I know behind the scenes, and this is like a challenge for us. Like I know there's contracts and like negotiations,
business,
and lots of business, and growing the channel, and okay, more content, and like there's all those pressures, and then yet when you tune in, it's funny and silly, and how the F do you do that?
Well, it's funny because you guys, I think, kind of remind me of Julian Smith. You know, he's a YouTuber, a friend of ours who makes some incredible.
Yeah,
he's
sounds familiar. I can't.
He makes some incredible YouTube videos, but he is
comedy sketches that look amazing. He's very much a filmmaker,
and he's very methodical. He's, I would say, a perfectionist, incredible artist. So that everything that he does is great, and that's how I see what you guys do.
It comes from an artistic conviction that if there's not something struck within him that I hear you kind of articulate, that there's a chord within you as an artist that has to be struck for you to continue to create.
Right. Like we talked to him on Ear Biscuits, and one of the things he said was that there was a time when he kind of, like last year, he sort of stopped making videos because he felt like he was just like he didn't have anything great to do on YouTube anymore. And now he's kind of back. But he took this break, and we were talking about how.
So what we're saying is we don't have that chord.
No, I guess what I'm saying is I feel like we're so practical. Not that we. I mean, I would say, are we artists? Do we create? Yes, we technically do that, but we're so practical that we've kind of created this. Like this is what we do. Monday through Friday, we come into our studio. We are going to get this, and this done. I mean, we have engineering degrees. Both of us have engineering degrees. So we don't come from a very like informed artistic background. I think some of that, there's just this very practical approach that even, I mean, sometimes we get ready to record our morning show, Good Mythical Morning, and we are not in a good mood. But we're like, this show needs to be a bright spot in people's day. So let's center ourselves and it's not that we're acting, but it's just like, for this show, even if I'm worried about this thing, for this show, I'm doing this, we're going to be happy and we're going to make each other laugh and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a very practical approach that we're not artistic enough. I honestly, I would say we're not artistic enough to get to the point where we would ever come to the conclusion like, this doesn't feel right, so I'm going to take a break. That's just.
Well, I mean, we've got families and, there's a lot more at stake when there's other people.
That's true.
So that's kind of a trump card. But we also try to do other things at the same time that can be a new creative challenge. Like doing Ear Biscuits for us, I'm not acting in any way. I'm legitimately interested in, who you guys are and where you're coming from and what you've created because I'm a fan. So for me, this is a creative outlet. Whereas, maybe 15% of the time doing Good Mythical Morning every single weekday for us is something that I have to access something that I'm not feeling at the time. So there's, it's performing.
Right.
But it's not, so it's creating in the moment, but it's not creating a whole album out of obligation. I certainly don't think we could do that. And I wouldn't expect any great artist to do that. You hear about people under contracts. I got to give Columbia Records another album.
Right.
Like, does that answer your question?
Totally.
We're not half the artists you are, and that's why we're talking to you.
I beg to differ, but
I want to find out. We don't have time to hear each of your entire life story, but I want to find out the point in which your lives intersected, and maybe some things that you think contributed to, which we can kind of get into this, the mentality that you have. This. I would say it's a pure artistic mentality that you bring to things, that you had adopted a formula to bring to your work on YouTube and just as musicians in general. I want to kind of find out what contributed to that.
Yeah.
So
How did you guys meet?
yeah,
Well, we were going to the same university, and
Which
I was
was?
a freshman at Stanford.
Stanford.
I've heard of it.
And so I was a freshman, and Jack was a senior.
Rubbing the cradle.
So we got a 4-year discrepancy here.
No, it's actually 3 because I was
3.
kind of
Okay.
early and she was kind of.
Okay.
I kind of redid a grade when I moved to France. Different story. So I was in
You moved to France to redo a grade so people wouldn't be like, oh, look at her. She's held back. It's like, I'm going to go to France to do that grade again.
Yeah, I want to do this in French and see how different it is. 3rd grade in France was a
Is
little
that
bit
is
different.
that how it was?
It was.
When you go to France,
it
you
was
start
5th
talking
grade
like
in
this.
France,
Wow.
but it was.
So you well, okay. So you did
so-
5th grade in America, and you did 5th grade again in France.
Yes, I did, and most people don't know that. But
Which
my
one's
parents,
better?
Well, France was less comprehensible for me because I didn't speak French. So
Problem.
that was why I would any class I didn't understand. First of all, nobody spoke English in the whole school, and I didn't speak French. And it was a little country school where they would ring the bell to start classes. And anytime I couldn't understand what was happening in the lesson, they'd be like, "Natalie, why don't you go spend time with the kindergartners and learn how to like write cursive and like play with puppets?" And so that was my 2nd, 5th year, was
Wow,
hanging out with French kindergartners. And then I learned French, and then everything was great.
everything changed.
And then later on,
Did you
I met
stay in
Jack at
France with
Stanford.
like your parents?
Yeah, my parents were missionaries, and so I was in France and Belgium from 10 to 18, and then
Okay.
Wow,
then
the formative years.
yes,
What flavor missionary are we talking about here?
Pentecostal evangelical.
Okay. Pentecostal
What
evangelical.
Flavor
What
is
flavor?
Salsa picante missionaries.
What
I would
flavor?
say
I thought that was like a butterscotch.
some sort of Dorito.
I didn't mean it in a derogative
Cool
term.
Ranch.
Ranch.
Cool Ranch missionaries.
Coconut lime missionaries.
Okay, I was just trying to characterize it in a way that was like this
Cool.
positivity.
Yeah,
I didn't want
what
to add
flavor?
defensiveness.
No,
Like what
that's
kind of what flavor? It's more like, oh, what flavor? You know?
It's like a positive flavor.
Yeah.
Any,
yeah.
you know,
Cool Ranch. I mean, that's
I
what's
enjoy
good.
this flavor, this surprising flavor
right?
in my
Spice
mouth.
of life, kind of a thing.
And so then at some point you decided
And I would say that Pentecostal. I would call that
a little spicy.
spicy.
Yeah.
A little spicy.
Yeah.
You never know. You know,
Never
might reach out
know.
and bite you.
Might. It
You know?
might.
But you'll be okay.
might.
If it's a snake, you'll be okay.
So now so are we on the right track here?
We're a little bit off
So you were
track
snake.
from meeting
Your
Jack,
parents were snake
but-
handling.
Yeah.
Snake
We're
handling.
we're in really a
missionaries.
good place.
Okay, French snake handlers. Got it. No. So
yeah.
Stanford.
So then we met there. I was opening for his band, and he walked in and saw me playing the bass and singing. And
As like
Ooh.
solo?
solo,
Wow.
this is college, so just picture me playing a bass.
He didn't have a chance.
with somebody on the djembe, and
It was over.
Yeah.
I literally, it was like it was kind of like smoky, foggy in there.
Oh, wow.
And there's this like tall, beautiful girl on stage with this huge
Playing
bass,
a
and
bass.
she's and just like
So not a stand-up bass, an electric bass.
it
No,
was
no,
an
it was-
electric bass.
yes, sorry, yes, it was an electric
Yeah.
bass, and
I would play chords on it.
I literally
but-
like we locked eyes, and I literally like was looking at her for like 4 seconds. She was just looking at me. She does this thing when she plays where her head is tilted down. She like looks. She's looking at me, and it was like one of those things where like I tripped over stuff and still like kept eye contact.
and then leaned over to my ex-boyfriend.
Right,
You
who I didn't know was an
Was an
ex-boyfriend.
ex-boyfriend,
Wow.
and said,
Who's that?
"Who is that?"
He was like, "That's Natalie Dawn. Her kisses are like jazz." I swear to God, he said that.
He
to me.
said that really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it was
So this
pretty
was
funny.
an ex-boyfriend. This was a relationship that you had ended.
Yeah.
Her
He's
kisses
he's
are like
still thought your
jazz?
kisses were like jazz.
Yeah, that was funny.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I actually didn't know he said that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can totally believe it.
And what were you singing? I just just a girl with a bass alone singing what? Johnny Cash?
Well, no.
don't know
They
why
were all,
I
they
said
were all
Johnny Cash.
originals. They were all
Okay.
they were all things that I'd written. I figured out when I was actually about 18 that whenever I was writing songs, I was hearing intertwining melodies, and so I'd ask my parents if they would get me a bass guitar because I wasn't really hearing chords so much as melodies, and so I would play sort of meandering melodies, and the vocal melody would sort of cross with the bass melody, and that was.
Do you do this the same style in your solo stuff now?
No, not really. But a bass is a really important way of how Jack and I write together.
Yeah, Natalie will often write a melody and a bass line, and I just kind of fill in the holes. Yeah.
Not really. I wouldn't put it that way. I mean,
That's often one way we write those.
I feel like a lot of the times what happens is you write a really cool chord progression and have an idea for a melody and say, okay, now write a really cool bass line.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
write a bass line.
Mhm.
And then you sort of alter what you wrote to fit around the bass line.
Right.
And
Is this an argument right now?
No, I think we agree. I think we agree.
Do you guys have arguments, and how
Yes.
heated do they get?
Heated.
Really?
Quantify that.
We
don't-
never raise our voice.
raise our voices
Never.
or throw things or anything.
Okay.
Never raise
Okay.
voices. Never
Okay.
yell at each other. But we do make each other sad sometimes.
We do, yeah.
As couples do, right?
That's a
part
nice
of-
way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
It
flee each
happens.
other's presence? Like, I mean, my wife and I, when we've kind of fixed it for the most part, but early on in our relationship, we would have these knockdown, drag out fights, which would mean she would run and like into the garage and lock me
Oh, wow.
out, so like I couldn't get to her anymore to have more of an argument.
Wow.
I would be trying
Whoa.
to fix it, and she would be trying to process.
Mm.
Dang.
That's pretty.
That's what we
intense.
do.
That is intense.
She's like, just go away. Let me figure this out.
You guys don't do that anymore.
No, we don't. She doesn't sequester herself.
Okay.
It's not as heated. It's more.
Right.
Let's just talk this out.
Talk about it. Yeah.
We have cycles of upsetting each other too.
Right.
Things that we've had to like sort of break the cycle when we
Right.
get into an argument. Like I'd say something that would unintentionally upset Jack, and then he would get frustrated at me, and then I would ask him why he was upset, and then he would say why he was upset, and I'd apologize and be like, "Oh, I didn't mean to upset you." And then
I hold grudges.
and then he
takes me a long time.
wouldn't get over it, and then I would get angry at him for still being upset with me for something that I didn't mean to upset him about. And then
Especially after
and
you
that's
apologized.
After
Yeah,
I'd apologized for unintentionally
She's
upsetting
totally in the
him.
right here, by the way. I'm a jerk. I was like very willing to admit, like Natalie is the better person here. Like absolutely. It takes me a little while to forgive. I don't know what that is, but I hold on to it. I have emotional inertia. It just takes a while to breathe out of me.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just have to give him a space and not. I have to not get angry at him for still processing everything. But he's gotten a lot better at like processing things faster.
Because of you. Because I'll do something really dickish and then I'll realize how much of a jerk I am and I'll say I'm sorry and you'll say, "That's okay. I know you love me." And then you're like happy and chipper and talking
Over
about
it.
30 Rock and I'm like, "What the F? I was a dick." Like, why are you mad at me? Because I would be
You
like
wouldn't be
mad
over
at
it.
you for
Right.
like a day. Yeah.
Okay. So
And all of this came out in that first meeting, I assume.
right. Yeah. So the kisses taste like jazz. Where do you go from there?
I gotta get some jazz, right?
Yeah. I mean, so what happened next?
We dated for a couple years, and we didn't really collaborate on music because that's kind of like the kiss of death for a relationship.
Well, we started by collaborating on music and it didn't
and
work.
then we broke up.
Right.
And then we got back together and we're like, no more music. And together, not separately, we could do music, but we weren't collaborating on it.
And you were still at Stanford and you had graduated.
Yes.
And what were you doing at the time?
I was doing a couple things. I started off right after I graduated. I started off as an SAT tutor. Not really proud of that. Then I started working as doing background music for Google. Actually, I was a in-house composer and did like directed videos and things for them for their like in-house video production department.
Really?
Yeah.
And they offered
Because
him
you had a filmmaking degree in film.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I didn't have a degree in film. I had a degree in music.
Okay.
But I was actually going to go to film school after college. I got in. I was ready to go, and then
TSC film school.
at the very last minute I didn't go because I was in a pop band and I wanted to do music. And so I didn't
Not
go.
Pomplamoose, the other
different band.
A different band.
And were you studying music also?
No, I wasn't planning on being a musician. I was I don't know what I was planning on being, but I was definitely planning on doing something that made money and where I could actually have an income and like a.
But you didn't have a plan. What was the major?
Well, I was majoring in art and mastering in French literature at the same time, and don't really know what I was planning on doing with that. I think I was just planning on getting 2 degrees,
Right.
and then doing something
Figuring
that was
something out.
not related to either.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah.
So then what? You guys, you music broke up. Your relationship was more important, so you did music separately. It was kind of a hobby. You were kind of doing the music job thing, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Jack started posting some of his stuff on YouTube.
or
and-
MySpace first. I thought you said, right?
Yeah, but
MySpace
then-
first.
But then YouTube. When did you start this?
2007. I started uploading
2007.
videos to YouTube.
Okay.
And at that point, he thought that it would be really good for me to have a YouTube channel too. So he produced my first song for me.
But you had made the decision just as a couple, we're not going to collaborate on music because that was devastating the first time.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And then what was it that made us start working on music together?
I think it was the response to that video.
Yeah.
What was the first video you're talking on her channel that with the song you
Yeah.
produced?
Yeah, we ended up posting it on my channel
Okay.
because I had more subscribers at the time, and we wanted to get people over.
To my channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all my subscribers said like, Jack, really like your music, man, but this is really good. It was like, no offense, Jack, but this is like, we like this.
And what
But
was
you
the
were
song?
not in it.
No, I was in it.
He was playing all of the instruments.
It was like a
except for
Pomplamoose
bass.
video, but Natalie was
But
singing.
you kind of saw it as I'm like a producer and I'm playing some instruments and
Yeah, it was.
and I'm in the video a little, but
Yeah.
it's her video for her
My
thing. I
song.
just kind of did some production on it.
Right, and
And
but
this was an original.
so this was
one of my originals.
this was it. Sort of at the end of producing it, though, we both felt like it would be weird to call it a Natalie Dawn song
Mhm.
because I had messed it up so much, or not messed it up, but made it just something else.
There was a
And
lot of Jack in it.
There was a lot of Jack in it, yeah, and so we when we posted it, we didn't even have a band name, right?
No, we didn't have a band name until we wrote our first song together,
Right.
which happened, I guess, about a month later. You were in my dorm room and you were playing the guitar, and I just started singing over. I sang a melody over the guitar line that he was playing, and he
Right.
said, "What's that?" And I said, "I don't know. I just sang something." And he was like, "Well, keep going." And then we wrote our first song together,
Yep.
and posted that
So it happened
as Pomplamoose.
very naturally.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Very
like, all right,
slowly.
let's have a meeting. Are we going to collaborate? It was just like, you
No.
know what? Just keep playing that.
We're
I'll
gonna
keep
do this,
singing.
But we
And it kept doing better
I
than
think-
either of our solo projects.
I think the way we rationalized it was that it was a side project.
Yeah.
It wasn't either of our
Right.
main focus. Then it started really taking off, and we weren't super prepared for that.
What were the mechanics of that? Like, what song or video really popped for Pomplamoose?
Well,
And why did you call it Pomplamoose, by the way?
Because we didn't care. We
If we would have cared.
No, it's true. I mean, a friend of mine got back from France, and we were talking about learning French, and she told me that the funniest French word that she'd learned while she was there was Pomplamoose, which means grapefruit. And I thought, oh yeah, that is a really weird word. And then the next day, Jack and I were like, yeah, I guess we should have a band name. What do you think about Pomplamoose? Oh yeah, that's good, I guess. There were no other suggestions for a band name. There was not a single other suggestion. So we just went with Pomplamoose. I got the URL, and we were Pomplamoose.
It's a good band name.
It's fabulous.
I'm totally cool with it, but
it has an animal in it before all the hipster bands had animal names in their bands, right?
Yeah.
It does. It does. I'm happy with the name too, but it was an accident, and it was totally an afterthought.
What popped?
Single Ladies.
Single Ladies.
Yes,
okay, yeah.
That was the first one. Okay.
That was it.
Yeah, we had
500,000 views overnight in 2009 when that was a lot of views.
Yeah.
Right.
We went from 10,000 to 50,000 subscribers in 3 months.
A couple.
And was that, a lot of people that
3 months,
we talk to, we get the impression that they sort of were kind of studying YouTube and kind of figuring out what would work. And they're like, oh, well, if we do this is going to, like, what was the thought process behind saying, we're going to do this? We're going to cover Single Ladies.
Yeah. We produced a record for an incredible singer-songwriter that I love named Julia Nunes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one day into YouTube, I just typed the Beatles and her video popped up before any Beatles videos. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is happening here?
And you already knew her.
I did know her.
You're like, that's Julia is the Beatles result.
Yeah. And that's when I started learning about SEO and started thinking about covering songs. And again, this, like, people were covering songs back then, but not like people are covering songs now. I mean, now, like, people just go through the iTunes top 10 and they just crank them out, like, week after week. In 2009, people were not doing that. Like, cover songs was not a method. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody was doing that. There were some people who were covering pop songs, but they weren't like iTunes top 10. It was like, what songs do I like? Oh, yeah. I like this
Mariah Carey
song.
tune.
Right. And this old Bella Fleck song. And, oh, here's a new one. And I like the one that just came out on the radio. I'll do that one. And then, so it wasn't
calculated
systematized.
Pandering to get views.
And now it very much is. And, I guess I feel bad about that. We are partaking in that.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, I feel like it's so important to be innovative and try something different. And yet the system is optimized for SEO, right? It's so, like, we all know how the algorithms work.
Yeah.
And ignoring it is honestly just shooting yourself in the foot. Like, it really is. I haven't figured out a way around it yet. I would love to. But it feels like
But you found a way. I mean, not only with the video format of the video song being this innovative creative expression, but you found a way to do a cover of Beyonce or Michael Jackson or whoever the case may be that is very much uniquely your voices, the Pomplamoose sound. That I think that. I mean, I guess that was calculated, but I mean, maybe that's the redemptive aspect of it for you guys from an artist perspective.
Yeah, we don't take a song and not, think about how to reharmonize and restructure it and present it in a different way.
To Pomplamoose-ize it.
Exactly.
Yeah. We usually take one element of the song and then ditch everything else, right? Yep. So we'll, like, take just the melody or just a chorus sometimes, or we'll combine pieces of songs that we like, the chorus of this with the verse of that, because they would work nicely together, or the chords of this song with the verse melody of that, right? So yeah, we usually just, like, take something and then we strip everything else away, and I guess that makes it feel a little bit more creative.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, when you talk about it, I see that, just the way we talked about, that the pure artistic approach, that pure artist in each one of you kind of has this, like, hesitancy to, I wish we didn't have to do a cover song. I wish we could just do the original things. But at the same time,
like, you feel like you're apologizing almost, even here.
But and I feel like, to kind of go back to the differences, like the way that we think about it, I think there is we definitely talk about how we want to be innovative. We don't want to do something that somebody else has done, but we definitely sit around and think, like, if you want to stay in this YouTube thing, you have to look at those patterns and you have to adapt and you have to. Some people just flat out just game the system.
Just game it.
And we don't want to do that.
It's an arms race, man.
But you have to take into account the reality. But the cool thing about what you guys do is you're like, man, there was something so innovative about that cover. That wasn't just a typical cover. And it immediately draws you into the band and the originals. You know, it kind of moves you into that experience. Like, what else have these guys done? Because I can tell that they can write songs just because, you know, I can tell that there's something else going on here. This isn't just somebody who has a producer and
Good
has
cover band.
Yeah, a good voice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I would go beyond that. It's like I think we're trying to convince you guys not to
That
be
it's okay.
ashamed of what you're doing. You should be proud. This is, you know, you guys are doing great. I would go a step further and say that, I mean, you guys, if it wasn't for what you did, I mean, you look at the walk off the earth of the YouTube space now. I think them being some of the, you know, the foremost, most successful in that way of, okay, we're taking this cover, but we're doing it in this extremely creative expression of it. You know, I haven't talked to them about you guys, but I have to assume that they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys innovating in that way. You know, I think that it's inspired people to be creative, and there may be some gaming the system to it or working within the system, but also doing that subject to your own, you know, your own convictions, so
Yeah.
to speak.
I think it's funny how many sort of versions of the metaphor there really are for the combination of gaming and true artistic creativity. Even in music, when Natalie and I write music, we think of a combination of tension and release, right? So like chords that sound nice and chords that sound a little like they're not settled yet, and then they settle, and that's nice. And like having a balance of in and out and tension and release, and gaming the system and not gaming the system, and, you know, being creative and following the algorithm, right? You kind of have to apply in and out to like every aspect of your business and your creativity. Because if you're 100% pure artist about it, and you don't at least acknowledge the system, then you write beautiful songs that nobody ever hears.
Yep.
And that's like one thing that we're figuring out, trying to figure out how to cope with, is like, okay, we feel like a little bit ashamed, but at the same time, we want people to hear our music because we're proud of it, you know? And so we feel like we owe it to ourselves to take advantage of the things that we know how to do.
Has anyone ever confronted you? You know, you seem to have this defensive stance, but have you heard that from anybody?
Totally.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, besides the comments? Because, I mean, I'm talking about like in face-to-face.
It's mostly when we get lumped into the category of bands on YouTube. Oh, yeah, bands do great covering songs on YouTube, but nobody can actually sell originals, right? None of them are actually songwriters. They're just cover bands. You know, and then they'll list Pomplamoose.
Cover artist.
YouTube cover
sensation.
Oh, really?
Pomplamoose.
Yeah. Like that whole media thing
Yeah.
You know, and the truth is, like, our original songs have just as many or more hits as some of our covers do.
Right.
It's not, you know, it's just that, you know, people know us for the covers, and that's our own fault, right? We made the covers.
Was that part of the, would you call it a burnout, like that you guys experienced, and when was that, and what led to it? I mean, was part of it like feeling like, oh, hamsters in a wheel, if you want to do this you have to play this game, and what led to the burnout?
Oh my gosh, so many things
So
led to
many
the
things.
burnout. It's really hard to just
pick out the juiciest, most personal aspect of it and tell us about that.
Juiciest, most personal aspect of it?
What would that be?
Yeah, toss it back to her.
Is it what you're actually thinking of?
I can think of a couple of pretty...
Go for it.
One of them, okay. One of them was that both Jack's mom and my dad had cancer and were really sick, and we were spending a lot of time dealing with cancer. And the idea of writing fun pop material just wasn't really speaking to either of us. We were having trouble. And we even kind of associated Pomplamoose with the illness in a lot of ways. It got, I don't know, it was just that's probably the darkest element of it.
What do you mean associated it with the illness?
I think because Jack's mom liked Pomplamoose so much.
Yeah.
She loved the band so much, and then her loss just sort of made it difficult to, I guess, appreciate the success of the band.
She was also sick for a long time, so I've spent 3 years at her house, and there's also an element of, sorry, it's getting pretty heavy. This is some heavy stuff here, but I don't regret the choice that I made of being there and being with my family.
Mm-hmm.
And for 3 years, everything else kind of stopped. And I don't regret that. I'm happy that we did that. But I couldn't. I didn't do much else in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel really guilty about being angry about that too. Not to turn this into a therapy session, but like I feel bad that frustrates me.
Right.
And all of that then gets wrapped in with Pomplamoose, because like I wasn't able to do Pomplamoose. I wasn't able to come out with videos weekly. I had to be somewhere else. And then I start feeling guilty that makes me angry. And all of that is wrapped inside Pomplamoose. And it imploded on itself.
So that was like 2010, 11, and 12 or 11,
9,
12, 13?
9, 10, and 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
And both of you guys were going through that
8,
with
9, 10. 8, 9, 10.
Okay,
8, 9,
really?
10. 8, 9, 10.
So pretty much right when it was getting started.
Right when it was getting started.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you were both going through that with a parent. That's what you said, right?
Yeah. My dad's illness happened. They were overlapping, but a little bit later, and it wasn't quite as severe as Jack's mom's illness. But yeah, we were both struggling with that, and also the Pomplamoose business had been something that Jack was primarily running, and that I wasn't really taking the reins for during all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was frustrating as well. I think you feeling like you were trying to, pull the whole thing, and that we hadn't really divided up roles successfully.
Yeah.
And that's something that took a bit of time to figure out. And now
it's a little better, but we still have different. Like I'm a total workaholic, and I just work like all the time, and Natalie like loves quality of life, right? And at 5 likes to relax and cook dinner and watch a TV show and
right.
and that's something I really need to do, and we do. It's just it does make the dynamic interesting and tough, and like that's something that we talk about all the time is like is our because I think kind of what I do is almost unhealthy, but at the same time I feel like we got to. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like we've somehow managed to find some sort of a balance.
It's good now. I feel like it works really well now.
It's gotten so much better, but it took several years of us figuring out our relationship, and sort of actually rebuilding our relationship after Jack's mom passed, and like before we could actually have a successful business on top of the relationship, we had to have a strong relationship. And now I feel like that now we're there, Pomplamoose can take off again.
And do you feel now that, moving forward, or now that your musical careers are more defined by Pomplamoose than they are your individual careers separately?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, Pomplamoose is the no one knows my solo stuff.
I mean,
People
your
know
solo
Pomplamoose.
stuff was taking off pretty nicely.
Still
last
though,
year.
people know me as half of Pomplamoose. They don't. Yeah,
But
yeah.
do you feel a need to, for all the reasons that you said earlier, to maintain the solo career because that keeps things healthier?
It's a separate outlet. Yeah, it's a different
Mhm.
sort of expression.
Yeah, I think that there's probably a good chance that Pomplamoose will always, sort of take breaks. It's healthy to have other outlets of
Mhm.
expression, and to not always be working together. Right now, we're in a phase where we're really excited to be working together, but after putting out an album and going on tour 3 times, we might be ready to just sort of like go back to our separate studios and have dinner together, but like not be working so closely together every day. And
Yeah.
we both kind of understand that and feel it out. And I think it was fortunate that for the 2 years when we weren't working on Pomplamoose, that we were both good with focusing on our solo careers. Then it's never like, oh, I really want to, and the other person is like, no. It's like
Yeah.
you're
You've been in
always-
sync in that way.
yeah. So that's good.
So it sounds like this is the year of
The
Pomplamoose
Oh
again.
yeah. Oh
Yes.
yeah.
And are you talking about it that way on your channel?
Oh yeah. We're like
We're coming
totally
back.
gearing. Yeah. Like we're calling the whole thing season 2.
Okay.
It's like that was season 1.
Yep.
That's all done, and
Mhm.
now season 2.
So what do we? What can we look forward to? What's the plan? What's in the wings?
Obviously more current covers, but also we've recorded several originals.
Okay, so that'll be a combination of guilt,
Right.
and lots of guilt for you guys
Practicality.
to still work through.
Right.
Okay, so
Tension and release. Tension and
Tension
release.
and
Right,
release.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that
Yeah.
analogy.
So how many originals do you have? I think you already told us that you had like 6 or so.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, 5 or 6 originals, and then we've also got some oldie covers that we're kind of stoked about.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 older covers, and then we'll be recording and releasing timely. We call them timely covers, chart toppers,
Yes.
as we go on and promote the album, and then a tour in the fall.
And then probably a European tour after that, and then possibly another U.S. tour after that. So the first portion of the year up till fall is going to be about releasing new material, new videos, and then after that, it's going to be about playing live for the rest of the year.
Now, have you ever, when you were touring before, did you guys plan this much ahead of time, like a year? Like this is what we're doing this
Never.
year. So this
No.
is the most significant
Mhm.
sort of strategy that you've ever implemented.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've figured a lot of stuff out. I feel like it's the first year. Oh, it's so weird to look back and think about how little we understood
I just
when
didn't
we
know.
when fame just sort of landed in our lap very
Yeah.
briefly.
Fame.
It was
Yeah.
YouTube fame, and
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it landed in our lap, and we were not expecting it.
Yeah. It's a particular type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yes.
you
Yeah,
know.
next thing you know, you're in a car commercial, right?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Oh boy.
Are there how many? What car commercial was it?
Hyundai.
Hyundai,
We
man.
did, and
We
Toyota
did,
as well. yeah.
we did Toyota, but we weren't acting in the Toyota commercial.
No loyalty.
Hey,
But so you did a song, or I don't. Was it a cover that you guys did, or were they originals?
All covers
All
in both
covers.
commercials. Toyota was Mr. Sandman. Hyundai
Yes.
was all Christmas songs.
yeah, I remember one was Christmas themed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 Hyundai Christmas.
Commercials.
Well,
I remember.
okay, and so and how was that for the artist within? Because you know how it is. I mean, doing a commercial.
We really don't feel that bad about commercials.
I actually have a thing about like, I think a lot of people peg me for a hipster and like I've no corporations like blah blah. I'm like not about that at all. I think brand integrations are like one of the best ways for artists to make money. I'd so much rather have a brand pay me to write a song than a record label, because the brand isn't going to tell me what BPMs to write the song at. right?
Right.
They're not going to get and say, we don't like that lyric. The brand's like, well, I don't know, is that good? And I'm like, yeah, it's good. And they're like, okay. And then they put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're not dipping their toes in my creative pot, whereas
Also,
a label is.
when
Yeah.
a brand gives you money, you don't have to pay it back to them.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, it's not indentured
No.
servitude.
Yeah, brand.
I'm just glad to hear that you don't feel bad about that too.
Oh yeah,
I'm
no.
glad you're focusing your guilt
Oh
on
yeah,
covers.
Yeah, I'm really focused. I got a
And-
magnifying glass on that cover guilt. Yeah,
But you'll sell out all over the place. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
We
no.
love that.
Hey, trust me, we've
Hey.
sold out many times over.
Oh yeah.
No, I love. I have a video from 2009 that I posted. It's a vlog where I'm like it's not like begging, but I'm basically like saying brands like there's all these creative people making videos. Like use us, like pay us to make cool stuff and do thoughtful integrations. Like if you whatever, like the wine thing with Hannah and My
Yeah.
Drunk Kitchen, like that's a beautiful integration. It makes sense. It's native. It's it's just awesome. And like that's a great way it's a win for the wine company. It's a win for My Drunk Kitchen. It's just awesome. And I was trying to explain this in the video, and now it's like I feel like brands are really doing this. Like there's so many integrations now, and a lot of them are natural. Some of them aren't as natural, but I'm
Right.
so thrilled about that. It's so much better than signing a crummy contract and giving away your future revenue for 10 years.
And the thing about
Yeah.
Hyundai, especially, was that when they came to us, first of all, I got an email. I thought it was a joke. I opened up the email, and it was probably 2 lines and said, "Hey, we're writing you on behalf of Hyundai. Like your videos. Was wondering if you guys ever thought of being on television."
Being on television.
Being on television.
And it was for real.
It was for real. And
So,
I,
yeah.
For real.
I replied and was like, "Sure. What are the details? Here's my lawyer." Just,
Right.
And they
It's like,
got
"Thanks,
back.
crazy person.
And they got back, and it was for real. And they wanted us to make music. They wanted us to cover public domain songs, which we would then own. We own those songs, so we get to sell them and put them on an EP, which we did, and we did an entire.
We didn't sell them.
We didn't sell them. We gave them away and raised about $130,000 in charity for after the Hyundai campaign, for books.
For the Richmond School District.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we got to make the music. We got to film the videos at home with very, very little intervention from them in terms of them even being in the room. They gave us nice cameras, but then they just sort of backed out. And then I got to edit the commercials just like
Really?
I edit all of our video songs. And so it really just felt like making 3 very short Pomplamoose videos. And
That they were going to buy the airtime for.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, can we put
Great.
your videos on television?
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes it all works out.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we got more stuff like that.
yeah.
Okay, so last question from me at least. I don't know how many questions you have. If you could have anyone cover your song, an original song, and feel guilty about it, who would it be?
Oh,
Anyone.
Tom Waits.
Really? Get it?
Yeah.
Drop that voice on it.
Yeah.
It's like taking it in the direction.
Yeah, Tom Waits.
Tom Waits.
Cover-
If I'm going to get into Tom Waits, what album should I buy first? Because I'm
Rain
still an
Dogs.
album guy.
Rain Dogs.
Rain
Dogs.
Dogs.
Oh my God, Rain Dogs.
DOGS.
Dogs, yeah, D-O-G.
Okay.
Two words.
2 words.
Rain dogs.
Wow. He sounds like an 85-year-old hermit, and he's 32. It's unbelievable.
But the smart thing
Yeah.
about singing like that is you always sound good, no matter how old you get. When you start singing like
Right.
that,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
We saw Chris
Yeah.
Christopherson with Merle Haggard at the Greek, and Merle didn't hold up as well as Chris Christopherson because Chris was kind of always that Sunday morning coming down kind of place. It was
Yeah.
so it was pretty.
It works.
It was pretty great.
It's a good strategy.
What about you, Natalie?
If anyone were to cover one of our songs, gosh,
And
I
feel
don't
guilty
know.
about it. Who should it be?
I'd hope for. I would honestly. I'd be happy if someone like like Beyonce covered our songs. That's what I'd aim for. I feel
Flip
like,
the script.
yeah.
Wow, which song?
Huh?
Which song?
I don't know, Single Ladies. That was a really good song. We wrote. Wasn't it?
Well, you know what? I think she's done that. It's a great video.
That would never work in the genre of R&B.
All right. Well, this is
It's been fabulous.
This has been great. We would ask you to sign the. We actually get people to sign the table, but since this is a hotel room table, I mean, you could.
We don't
but
want them to charge you for
Yeah,
that.
our credit card is going to be held responsible.
I have to say, this is a very weird thing. I feel like you guys know so much about us.
Really?
And yeah.
It's usually
and now
more
we
dimly
don't know-
lit, so it doesn't feel as weird.
Okay. I feel like you're
You
just
feel like you
staring
need it
into our souls
to interview us now?
and we don't know you guys.
We'll
but-
be on your podcast.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Next episode.
do you have a
Pomplamoose.
podcast?
No.
Okay. We'll be your first guest.
Great.
We'll record it for you.
When you guys get around to that.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you.
And there it was, our hotel-based conversation with Pomplamoose.
Could you feel the relationship blossoming with them over the course of the conversation?
You mean their relationship with each other, their romantic relationship?
No, their relationship with Rhett and Link, us. I feel like we really became friends. You know, having never had a conversation except for that one that was recorded for the Ear Biscuit.
Well, I felt like they connected well with me. But you know, and all I got to do is connect well with one of us,
What?
and then the other one gets in automatically. I'm just kidding. I
No,
thought
they liked me.
I think they made equal eye contact with you. So I mean, you know.
And I think maybe we helped out
Congratulations.
their relationship. Who knows?
Well, you know, I will say, and I love it when this happens, and it happens on a pretty regular basis, and it just reminds me that why I love doing this show, and that is after we got through with our conversation, Jack and Natalie said, "You know what? We didn't know we were going to end up talking about some of that stuff. You know, even the stuff with their parents' cancer." And they hadn't really, you know, it's not that it's not public, but they hadn't talked about it in that way before in a setting like this.
Yeah, I'm glad they felt comfortable talking to us because we're such good friends.
Yeah. And so, you know, maybe the next time I go into the DJ voice, I will be introducing some sort of collaborative musical thing.
Could happen.
You know, I mean, we're such good friends. We could write a song about friendships. We could write a song about two guys who are friends with a couple who sing together.
Yeah.
It's a great relationship.
That we're in with a couple. We're in a relationship.
My
with
relationship with a couple. I think that is probably a book.
third and fourth wheel.
But
bringing up the rear.
yeah, I think we should probably not try to write songs just in the moment on Ear Biscuits. I think we should think about things before we try to do that again.
But I unabashedly own the fact that Ear Biscuits is our ploy to befriend even more people who are who are interesting on the internet, and hopefully you feel like you are forging a friendship along with us, that you're sitting at the table with us or in the hotel room if we happen to be filming from somewhere else. Or
Let us know what you thought about this Ear Biscuit. A great way to do that, it helps us out a lot, is if you leave a review on iTunes, if you leave a comment on SoundCloud, that helps us out a lot. Continues to send those the Ear Biscuits up and where other people can discover it. And another thing you can do to help people discover it is just tweet the link that we share. We always share a link over on our Tumblr page, which also goes to our Twitter and our Facebook. And you can just use the hashtag Ear Biscuits and share that with your friends so everyone could enjoy the biscuits.
yeah, thanks for your help there. Also, tweet at Pomplamoose. Pomplamoose is how you spell it.
Pomplamoose.
Let them know what you thought and that you appreciated the friendshipization. Yeah.
And if you want to say that, you know, Rhett and Link are really big fans, I mean, they're probably going to listen to this, but, you know, you can remind them on Twitter and you can talk about how we need to musically collaborate. That would
Two
be good.
guys befriending a couple. We're in a quadriship with Pomplamoose.
First of all, We should probably consult our wives before we start
Our wives are friends too.
A quadriship.
We got instant
6
families.
people. You know what? We should just go. You know what? Maybe we should do a triple date. I think that's what it should be. That would make it a lot less awkward. Why haven't we thought about that until right now? Just triple date with our wives.
Or Pomplamoose could keep our kids and we could just
Go on a double date.
No, or we could each just date our wives separately.
But I get my wife, right?
Yep. You can have your wife. I'll have my wife. Jack and Natalie will keep our children.
And then they'll write a song for us, and then when we get back, we'll record it.
Our kids.
This is a good
in
idea.
a relationship with Pomplamoose.
We should just
while
quit
we go
now.
on a date with our wives.
I like the sort of the lounge singer, directionless vibe that the song that we know that we're going to co-write with Pomplamoose is taking on. Since none of their music sounds like that.
Well, we're going to be a Vegas act with them. That's how it's going to end.
Okay. All right. Thanks for ear biscuiting with us.
Hear you next week.